well informed, right? Get a reasonable understanding of complex topics. But what happens if the very foundation of some crucial claims, like, say, UK temperatures, what if it's built on shaky ground? Today, we're taking a deep dive. We're looking into recent investigations around the quality of temperature data from the UK Met Office.
Yes, the article we are looking at today, written by Steve Davidson, is called Unmasking Poor Quality UK Met Office Data.
Exactly. And our mission here is really to unpack some, pretty surprising findings. These come mainly from citizen journalists using freedom of information requests. And honestly, these findings, they challenge some widely accepted ideas.
We'll dig into the details, the numbers, and, what this might mean for you and for how we generally understand climate information.
Okay, let's jump right in then, because this first point is, it's quite eye-opening. It's about the siting of these weather stations. Davison finds that nearly 8 out of 10, or almost 80% of the Met Office's 380 UK stations are classed as junk or near junk.
WMO Class 4 and 5, right? These World Meteorological Office international standards. What does it actually mean, though? Class 4 and 5, how reliable are the readings from those?
What's fascinating, or maybe concerning, is the potential scale of error we're talking about. These classifications, Class 4 and 5, they imply potential errors of up to 5 degrees C, and the findings point to pretty common siting problems, things that tend to push the recorded temperatures up. Stations too near buildings, large areas of concrete, car parks, even runways.
Wow, 5 degrees, that's a lot.
It is, and what's really notable, according to these reports, is how many of those widely publicised record high temperatures actually come from these kinds of sites. They mention places like St James's Park and Northolt, supposedly hitting over 40 degrees C back in July 2022, and many others, all coming from these flawed locations.
Okay, but here's something that seems, like a real contrast. The sources say that despite these WMO issues, the Met Office internally rates over 90% of its own stations as excellent, good, or satisfactory. How do those two things square up? And are the newer stations any better cited?
That's a really key discrepancy highlighted in these investigations. It seems the internal ratings don't align with those international citing standards. And interestingly, no. Even the newest stations, apparently over 8 out of 10 opened in just the last 30 years, are often put in these same Class 4 and 5 spots, near buildings, concrete and so on.
Right, so the siting issue is significant, but then Davidson explores something else. The mystery of invented data. Sounds dramatic. What did these freedom of information requests uncover there?
Yeah, this part is quite astonishing, actually. One citizen journalist, Ray Sanders, made FOI requests and revealed that the Met Office has been publishing data from over 100 stations that either don't exist anymore or perhaps never did, defunct or non-existent.
Wait, non-existent stations? How does that work?
Well, this so-called ghost data is supposedly estimated. They use something called regression analysis based on data from nearby stations that are meant to be well correlated.
But here's a catch. The investigations found that in some cases, these supposed neighbouring stations, they don't seem to exist either.
Seriously, that's what's reported. And there are even examples cited where temperature data was published for a station a full decade before it even became operational.
Wow, okay, that does raise some pretty fundamental questions, doesn't it? Especially for long-term trends.
Absolutely. Particularly when you hear reports like those cited in the article that historical data sets like Hadcrut, which is the Met Office's key global temperature record, might have had about 30% extra warming added over time due to adjustments and infilling if the base data has these issues. And it seems there were transparency issues too, something about renaming web pages.
The reports mention the Met Office quietly renamed their UK climate averages page and removed coordinates for these imaginary sites, but only after it got some attention on social media.
Okay, so let's try and connect this to the bigger picture. What are the overall implications here, according to the article?
Well, if you pull it all together, the analysis suggests it seems, quote, ludicrous for the Met Office to be reporting temperatures with precision down to 100th of a degree C, when at the same time, nearly 80% of its measurement sites potentially have errors up to 5 degrees C, or, might not even physically exist?
That does sound contradictory, and Davison highlights research showing how this UK situation contrasts with other networks. The US Climate Reference Network, which was specifically designed with really high-quality siting standards to be sited far from artificial heat sources, and also satellite records like those from UAH, the University of Alabama in Huntsville. Both the USCRN data and the UAH satellite data are reported to show, quote, very minor gentle warming or generally less overall warming compared to datasets like Hadcrut. It provides a different perspective.
So the fundamental issue these sources seem to be raising is about integrity, isn't it? Both of the data and the way it is communicated.
Exactly. It risks undermining trust. It can shift what should be a scientific discussion based on solid evidence into something more politicized.
So for you listening, trying to get reliable knowledge, what's the takeaway from all this?
I think the core message from these investigations is really about the critical importance of transparency and the need to evaluate information carefully. Yes, when you're presented with claims, especially those based on specific data points or trends, it's worth asking, where did this data actually come from? How was it collected? What are the potential uncertainties?
Right, so maybe don't just take the headline number at face value.
Definitely, though it would be easier if the Met Office were more open about the quality of their data. And consider seeking out diverse data sources. Look at things like the USCRN data or the UAH satellite records that these reports mention. Davison also recommends following a number of citizen journalists like Ray Sanders, Chris Morrison, Paul Homewood, David Turver, and Lewis Brackpool.
And for UK viewers, he provides a really useful template letter to lobby your Member of Parliament to enlist their help in getting the Met Office to be more transparent.
That wraps up for now. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
And do visit baffledbyscience.com to keep up to date with the latest developments in renewable energy policy.
And as always, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, and stay informed. Until next time.